Hello, Kenya. Tutorial number 2.
Ableton Kenya tutorial.
I hope you're having a really nice day. And to the rest of you, hello, I guess. This will be a public video for sure. Last time I taught you how to download plugins on your own, completely legally, so I didn't have to walk you through it every time you wanted one. Something I did with Oxidize like too many times. But now I feel like since you have the full version of Ableton now, I should probably teach you some genuine production tippies. You understand? So today I'm going to teach you about one of my favorite tools. It is in the Instruments tab here on the left. It's called the Simpler. Oh my lord. Look it's the Simpler. Isn't that so awesome? Simpler is a really nice tool. It can do a lot of things. Well, it could do 3 things. You could use it as a kind of looper thing. I have Live in Your Skin just here. You could also use it in a one-shot mode that kind of does the same thing, except just plays the whole thing out. All you have to do is press it. I don't really use those, like, at all, though. What I do like is the slice mode. Yeah. What the slice mode does? The slice mode creates little slices in your audio. It has 4 different options for the slices. You could slice it by beat. You could slice it by, let's move this up here, region. This one's a little nutty. You could create more and more regions if you don't want to. Or you could create your own little slices in manual mode. But I usually like to stick with transient mode. You could change it. I'll talk about that later though.
Transients are the part of the wavetable that peak higher than the rest. Transient mode on the Simpler creates slices on these parts of your audio. These parts are usually gigs, so using the transient mode can be quite useful for keeping your drops consistent.
And Live in Your Skin, for example, I could probably chop this guy up real nice. Allow me to demonstrate. So I just did that super quick. I mean, it sounds fine. Then I'd like to put like super effects on it, you know? Like if I put a reverb, an OTT, perhaps a Redux. And you could like spend all day putting audio effects on it, you know? I think the best part about this is that you can change the way it sounds from within the Simpler. Let's say I wanted it to be a different pitch. I can change that easily. If I want it faster, just raise the BPM. Want it slower? Lower the BPM. You want it fade out? And then you go really crazy, put like a fucking delay on it. That's kind of just how you'd use it if you wanted to start a song. I usually don't do that, however. I like to use the Simpler kind of in an additive context. Usually I have more background than usual. For example, I have these chords here set up already for us. And usually at this point, I'm thinking, okay, these chords are pretty cool. They're really not that cool. But usually I'm thinking, okay, what I have here is pretty cool. Needs a little juice though, right? So what I would do is I would grab from splice.com, I would find a vocal sample or any sample, but I like vocal samples. Raw vocals that are in the same key of my chords. Let's say I grab this sample right here. I don't have no idea what she's fucking saying, but her voice is cool. But it's really not, it's not my vibe. So what I do, holy tits, what is this? Oh my god, what is that? That's new? That's definitely new. Okay, I have no idea what that was. I usually like to do it in 8 bars and just fucking have fun. Don't be afraid to double them up like this because that's low-key my favorite part. I like the repeating, the repeat of it. It's cool. Don't be afraid to go high, go low, doesn't matter. The more unique you get, the more strange sounds you'll receive. Eventually, I'll find a section that I like. Usually it'll be about 1 bar, maybe 2, 3, or 4 bars, but I like how this sounds. So I'm just gonna fucking repeat that. And then with them together. But it doesn't really sound all that poppin' right now. You really can't hear the vocal sample, right? So I like to put an overdrive at the higher frequencies, kind of distort these higher frequencies and get them more up there in the mix. Then you put an OTT because OTT fixes everything. Put that shit on everything. Then an EQ to get rid of these lower frequencies because you always want to get rid of these lower frequencies. And then a little reverb. And then pretty much at this point, I'm done. I've just added my bass and my kick. Well, I can hear you ask already. Are there other methods of sampling? Why use this method instead of those? And to those questions, yes, there are different methods of sampling. Why use this one? Well, I'll show you. I have a song called Silly Guy that I made a while back that uses a lot of techniques without the simpler. And I'll tell you the inconveniences and possibly the pros of why you would want to do that. So in my song Silly Guy, I have a little portion here of vocals that are kind of choir-like and mixed into this whole track. Feel myself again. It's not the most amazing thing you've ever heard. But what I tried to do here, because I had a little drop, was I wanted to have this vocal sample chopped up. I wasn't aware, or I wasn't familiar with the Simpler's game at the time, so I kind of just did this. The problem with this is that it took a long time to find something that I really liked. And I kind of had exported this and grabbed it, and I was like moving things around like kind of like this, and like then you have to move it like this, and then you have to press Control D to duplicate and fire. And you can find yourself repeating a lot and doing all this. It's fine, especially if you want more control of like the cuts right here. There are different ways to do that in the Simpler that you can ask me about if you want more in-depth advice. This is kind of introductory. But another thing about this, you can't pitch it down in the same way if I move Kenia to down. Like if I wanted it, I'd have to grab every single one, move them down by 3 as well. And that gets inconvenient very fast. Well, you also cannot really change the speed of it in the same way. Because of the way the warp works in Ableton, kind of makes it sound a little weird, like you can see it right here. Whereas before it kind of sounded all super chill and normal. Right? I slow it down. You can hear all these little artifacts of woof, woof, you know what I mean? And that's never fun to deal with. And if you turn the warp off, it's even worse. Now you slow it, now it changes the whole thing. Now you're gonna get these holes, you know. But in the Simpler, you won't have that problem Of course, it'll sound different when you slow it down and speed it up, but it'll relatively like remain the same because the slices are, how do you say this? Like, the slices are not warped in the same way that the audio would be if you just chopped it up like this. So yeah, think about that.